Hey, how are you today?
All right, yourself?
Well, thank you.
So, what is it that you do here?
Excellent question. I I presume the reason that I'm in front of a camera today is because I'm a Mansfield resident and because I'm in the media business and because I'm one of the founders of a project called Oz Civics, including the Oz Civics Film Festivals, which deals with significant youth issues in Australia.
So, what exactly is Oz Civics and what do you do here?
Well, let me tell you the questions that we discovered that we needed to answer. We learned a few years ago that more than 50% of Australia's youth don't know that Australia is a democracy or don't care. It's scary, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, indeed.
So, along with some significant Australians, we built a program intended to help Australia's youth become more aware of what it is that makes Australia what it is and why we have such a privileged lifestyle and opportunity here. Our civics film festivals combine movies with messages from the Governor General and from famous Australians like Ian Thorpe and Georgie Parker and Michael Caton and George Gregan and a whole bunch of others to help Australia's youth. The target group is 10 through 18, so grades 5 and 6 right through high school, to become more aware of the foundations of Australia's democracy and to relate it to what it means to be Australian today. We have a pretty good lifestyle, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, we do actually.
Okay. So what is it that makes Australia such a great country and such a privileged, safe way of life? It's the fact that we have a constitution and that we're governed by law. That's the difference between Australia and some other countries around the world. Doesn't matter whether you're a politician or whether you're wealthy or whether you're poor, everyone has access to the law under the Constitution. That's the essence of what provides our privileged, safe, enjoyable Australian way of life. And the democratic system that we operate under is often despised because of the way politicians seem to behave, but the fact that we have choice and the privilege of changing things if we choose to makes Australia a great country, the lucky country.
So, how does this tie back to the youth of Mansfield?
Well, here's how I'd like it to tie back to the youth of Mansfield. We're here in Melbourne. I call Mansfield my home, but I'm not there very often. The last X number of years I've been in Melbourne a lot. I've been in Europe and the US and parts of Asia a lot, making films and building film projects. But what I'd really love is for Mansfield to be the absolute leader in terms of the way it combines cinema and media experience and understanding our democracy and rule of law and the privileges that we have in Australia, and set the scene for the rest of the country. So Oz Civics is a national project, and it's available to all of the 10,000 or so schools around Australia. But if Mansfield schools and young people were to take up the running and set the scene for the rest of the nation, I think that that would be good for Mansfield and the rest of the nation.
When you're talking about making Mansfield the leading town with youth and cinema and combining them together, how do you plan on doing something like that?
Well, Tane, I'm not actually going to do it. The fact that I'm a Mansfield resident is great, and so I have this parochial interest in Mansfield. But it's really guys like James and Tim at the theatre, and you students who are engaged in media and cinema that are going to do it. AusCivics not only includes the film festivals, which is a 2-hour program that is shown in cinemas, but it also includes the Governor-General's National Film Prize. And that will allow students to develop their 2 or 3 minute themes around the democratic questions that we ask them, and they'll compete for the awards that are associated with that. And I hope that Mansfield students are going to get enthusiastically into that project, write their scripts, record them, load them up, and that without any bias from me, there'll be a Mansfield student on the national stage being given an award by the Governor-General when the time comes. Another way in which media and AusCivics are related, and it can relate to Mansfield, is that on the AusCivics website, auscivics.org.au, there are a range of curriculum resource materials, and they use current films and other forms of media to little clips from those films to generate questions, which then lead to in-class discussion. For example, have you ever seen the film The Castle?
Yes.
Okay. Well, The Castle to a lot of people is just a comedy, but that whole movie was about one man's constitutional right to hold on to his home and be governed by law, not by the wishes of some bigger bully organisation. And so we took a couple of clips out of that and built an entire curriculum resource program around it that can be used in class and at home. And there are several dozen of those using movies like Robin Hood and a whole bunch of others. But what we really want to move towards is those movie clips being generated by students themselves that then become catalyst material for thousands or tens of thousands of other students and their teachers to have profitable discussions in their class. Now, I can't see any reason why we couldn't feature some of Mansfield students' early content on that website as a catalyst for the rest of Australia.
Seeing that I'm a music student from Mansfield Secondary, how does musicians fit into this in any way?
Well, music is essential to any film, whether it's a 30-second ad or a 2-hour full-length feature film or a documentary or any other kind of media presentation. Music is one of the essential elements. So there's all sorts of opportunities to compose and perform and add music behind local productions. And at some point we'll actually add a music performance category to the Governor-General's National Film Prize. That doesn't exist at the moment, but at some point it'll exist. But there's no reason, again, why Mansfield students couldn't take the lead in composing and performing music that fits the theme of AusCivics.
Seeing that you grew up in Mansfield, like I am right now, and lots of other kids are, do you think that kids in regional areas are disadvantaged in any way?
Well, let me correct something. I didn't grow up in Mansfield. I moved to Mansfield from the country because technology had moved to a point where I believed that I could conduct my media-based activities and make Mansfield the centre of my world and universe. So Mansfield is absolutely perfectly positioned because it's only a couple of hours from Melbourne, but with the advances of technology and various forms of broadband and the ability to flick files around the world as required, and things like Skype and things like Pro Tools and Final Cut Pro and whatever. Anyone in Mansfield who's motivated has the ability to be centre stage on the world stage if they choose to.
So, are you willing to help the youth of Mansfield any way you can?
The answer to that is yes, but let me look at the camera and turn the question around. My question is to the youth of Mansfield. Are you willing to help? AusCivics is a national program, but are you willing to get in there and have a go and discover what democracy is and be involved in the AusCivics film festivals, the online curriculum resources, and take the lead in creating the media content that will set the rest of the nation on fire? How's that for a question?
Well done. Oh, I like it. That's great.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you.